Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another picks, preview, and prediction video. You know we have another amazing show here lined up for you guys when there's a RIZIN card on the weekend. And I know this one's dropping a little later than usual, but you can blame the sports books for not getting the odds out for this one, and we wanted those prior before running down this show. That is right, RIZIN Landmark 10 in Nagoya, and it's a RIZIN picks, preview, and prediction show, so you know that we're bringing back our friend, the mighty J-Wolf, to the show as well. J-Wolf, how's it going?
What's up, brother? How you doing? Thanks for having me on here, Aish. This is awesome. I love being back on the City Life Project, previewing the epic RIZIN Fighting Federation with you. And what an amazing event we have right here. RIZIN Landmark 10. This is in the cage. You know, some people are complaining that RIZIN is in the ring. They want to see it in the cage. Well, this is right here. This is their cage series we've been telling you about. RIZIN Landmark is their cage series. We're going to get superior rule set action in the cage. It's going to be awesome. And another awesome thing about this event is that it's free, totally free. This is a back-to-back free event. They had a numbered event in the ring that was free on RIZIN.tv, and now RIZIN Landmark 10 is for free again on RIZIN.tv, and it's at an early start time as well. So it's going to be so much fun. Saturday night is going to be awesome. I just cannot wait. What a loaded weekend of combat sports. And this right here, Landmark 10, is for me, it's the cherry on top of an absolute amazing. I mean, we got 12 superior rule set bouts on this card right here. They're all bangers. I mean, just incredible. And the flyweight division is featured here. And remember also, Combat Sports Today, they were the first to report it. Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of the Epic RIZIN, did an interview where he said he wants to re-sign Kyoji Horiguchi, and he wants to run a 125-pound flyweight Grand Prix next year in 2025.
We called it. We were banging the drum. He was watching all the prediction shows being like, all right, J-Wolf and Isha, I don't have to pay them to promote this in North America. We're doing this. Well, and look at all the flyweights and, even some bantamweights, but some bantamweights who can probably move down to flyweight to compete in this Grand Prix. I'm so excited for this. All the international fighters, even some from Canada, even one featured on this card as well. But we'll get into that here shortly. When we get to the intermission portion of the card, we'll just have a quick chat about that as well, J-Wolf. But we're going to keep this one a little bit shorter than some of the numbered cards, guys, because those we kind of just treat like a podcast. And because we got to this one a little late, again, we're blaming the sports books for that one. Obviously, the New Year's card will have probably the odds up sooner. I mean, certainly if they're somewhat affiliated with Bellator for that one as well, or PFL-ator. But let's jump.
Remember that the rematch that I coined it, the rematch of Chihiro Suzuki versus Patricio Pound Pitbull 2. That was, remember, that all signs are pointing to that. But that looks like it's not happening no more. It's going to be Kleber versus Chihiro, and then we don't know if Patricio is going to be on the card or not, and we don't even know if the collaboration portion is even going to happen anymore.
We're getting really close to it now. I keep forgetting, but we're already halfway through November. So you know what? You're right. PFL probably this up.
You know what it was is because their pay-per-view with Ngannou, it flopped, unfortunately. I'm worried that they panicked after that and were like, oh man, we gotta, we can't have our brand getting showed up by RIZIN or whatever. So I'm worried that they're like, I'm worried that Don Davis is freaking out about that and pulling his, the collaboration bouts. And the rematch falling through with Chihiro versus Pitbull 2, I'm worried that has, broader implications. But everybody else seems to think that, like Drew from We Are RIZIN podcast seems to think that, no worries, it can still happen later on next year. Even if they both take a loss in their next fight, the rematch can still happen eventually. So,
well, I think the rematch can still happen regardless of who's holding a belt or whatnot, because,
yeah. It just be more cooler with the belts on the line, obviously, but I think from PFL's flop pay-per-view, unfortunately, I think that scared them to where Don Davis and them they didn't want to have the PFL-ator belts on the line. They want to have their brand name, on the line against RIZIN fighters, because there's no guarantee they're going to go 5-0 again like the original Bellator versus RIZIN New Year's Eve collaboration mega event, right? So I'm just worried that we'll see. I mean, All we know so far is that the rematch fell through, and there's still the Sakakibara-san himself was talking about how the collaboration portion of New Year's Eve is still possible. Okay. So it's still possible. So let's just hope that it comes through.
Okay, well then maybe that's part of the announcement. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. They're gonna announce some stuff during the intermission here. It's just coming down to the wire. Like if we're gonna hear an announcement, we're gonna hear it this week or next from either party or both.
Right.
And whether it's a lot of collaborations at the highest level or not, there's still a possibility because PFL Bellator side of PFL has not said that they're not going to Japan anymore. They like kind of teased it and then we're like, oh, we're pretending like we didn't tease it. Look, we all know they're going to Japan, and why not? Even if there's not a lot of collaboration bouts, do it in the same venue. Bellator goes first, then RIZIN goes after, just like they've been doing it these last few years, and maybe just have less collaborations. That's fine, or just have some of like the lower level fighters on the roster go at it on the undercard or leading up to just some big fights where Bellator just puts on their fights just in Japan. And then when we go to the RIZIN side, whoever's competing from Bellator and RIZIN on the the mid roster side of things, the lower end, you just fight RIZIN rules and they're excited for it. We don't necessarily
exactly.
I don't think there needs to be the biggest names versus the biggest names like in years past for it to still be a fun show.
Exactly, bro. All we want is international fighters, great international fighters under the superior rules set. That's all we want. We don't have to have your big superstar pay-per-view draws or anything like that. Just give us some good international fighters, PFL Tour fighters under the superior rules set of the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation New Year's Eve, and we'll be happy. I mean, it doesn't take much to make us happy. Just give us some international fighters on the superior rules set, and we're good, man. So hopefully it happens.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into this card here. I know you don't have much or anything really to say about the prelims, but I'll fire through them here. I know the boys at the We Are RIZIN podcast, they like to rip on these RIZIN early prelims because, a lot of local fighters, lower level fighters, but honestly, they've always been exciting. Either quick knockouts, absolute wars, especially on the kickboxing side of things, or we get 2-round fights. It's basically like deep fights where they just go balls to the wall, want to put on a show for their local fans, especially the local, whether it's just one or two guys representing, Nagoya, for example. Those fights are always fun. And, if there are some that drag out, if there are some that, right off the bat, you're like, oh yeah, the talent's very low for this one. This is not even going to be exciting. They're 2 rounds. It goes by quick. So I don't understand the hate towards them. And those used to be the ones that were free. So there you go. But anyways, first one here.
It's because they're not under superior rule set. That's the only problem. If they were under the superior rule set, I would totally be into and watch every single one of them, right?
But I mean, not all deep fights are under superior rule set, and there's a lot of deep fights that are more entertaining than UFC fights these days as well. But I like kickboxing, so I think this is going to be a fun one. First fight on the card, we have Toshizou against Jin. Jin is 18 years of age. This is breaking down against a RIZIN fighter. Jin, by the way, don't have his official record here. He did lose his last fight at RIZIN 181, but before then won a fight in the 3rd round at the RIZIN World Series 2024 Osaka, and actually won the King of Seoul Volume 7 tournament / title against Hiroki Kinjo earlier this year as well. He's been insanely active this year. I think he has 5 or 6 fights in 2024, and in his last win, he was able to get a stoppage. He's young. He's got more experience. He's a rise and deep kick guy going up against Toshizou, who's a breaking down guy who is honestly only here because of that. So I got Jin winning this one. Way more experience. Still got the youth factor and way more talented. In the second fight, we have Daisuke Tatsumi against Sho Hiramatsu. For this one, I have Tatsumi, and I'm actually going against our friend Daniel at the We Are RIZIN podcast on this one. He's going the other way in this, but I like Tatsumi's experience. Only 2 years older and so many more fights. He's 20-12 in MMA, whereas Hiramatsu is 5-5. Now, Hiramatsu has looked good against some decent competition at the deep level. And honestly, 89% of Tapology are also going with Tatsumi, but Daniel, he liked his last performance, even though it was a loss, and he liked his last win as well against Mamoru Ue, who is a 23-13 fighter, very similar to that level of Tatsumi. But like I said, I like the experience of Tatsumi. 12 finishes and 20 wins. He's like the local hero of Deep in all of his fights. Okay, so that's 22 fights. He has only fought in Deep. 22 fights, only fought in Deep. This is his first time fighting outside the promotion, first time fighting in RIZIN, which is crazy, man. Because I know there's a lot of guys who like fight like 20 plus fights in Deep, but you know, they've gone to Shuto, they've dabbled in RIZIN. Shoot, they've even gone to like Road FC to fight a Korean here and there. Like, that's actually crazy. That's actually crazy. Though Hiramatsu is very tall and is actually better than his record shows, I do think that Tatsumi will take this one. Dude, even in his amateur career, he only fought in Deep. That's crazy, dude. Absolutely crazy. Third fight, we have Masashi Inada against Tasugoshi Sasaki. In this one, I am going with Inada. Sasaki is not that great. Inada's a bit younger, only really lost to legit opponents, great power. Now, this is a heavyweight fight, but he's going up against a guy with not a lot of experience and kind of a fatter heavyweight. Doesn't look like an athlete at all, let's just say that. He's looking like Romanov in the UFC these days. He's 6-8-1. Again, kind of goes out on his shield. 3 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's actually never been submitted, but he's been knocked out 5 times. I mean, this is Grochin versus Deep, as he's had 1 Deep fight, has Sasaki, and all his other fights have been in Grochin, whereas Inada 3-2 as a pro, only fought in Deep. He's a little bit of a smaller heavyweight. He's fought in the light heavyweight and heavyweight, but I think he's going to get this one done easily. And Sasaki also took this fight on short notice. Now, in the last matchup here on the prelims, then we'll get into the good stuff here, J-Wolf. Then we'll get into the good stuff. We have Taito Kubota against Ibichu Hibino. Now, this one actually should be a really, really fun fight. Now, I'm going with Kubota, on this one. 92% of people in Tapology are also going with Kubota, and I am as well. He's a way better grappler. This is actually a rematch because he finished Hibino with a twister in their last fight, which is unbelievable. And you know what's even crazier and even more unbelievable? Hibino, his loss before the loss to Kubota was also via twister. So back-to-back twister submission losses, which is almost unheard of in Pro MMA. So you got to think that Kubota, in the back of his mind, if he gets him to the ground, he's going to think like, I have to set this up one more time, because how humiliating would it be for Hibino in a non-superior rule set fight, mind you, to be friggin' twisted up again and 3 in a row. At that point, just retire, Hibino. At that point, just retire.
Exactly. He probably quit the sport after that if that happened. He'd be so ashamed.
That's such a crazy stat. Also, Kubota is very hard to finish. He's only been finished twice in his entire pro mixed martial arts career. He's 14-6 as a pro, though he's a lot older. He's 35. Hibino's 26. Hibino's 7-4. Again, lost via twister. Actually, he had 1 win between his 2 losses there, but in his last 2 losses, it's been via twister. Joji Goto got him in a twister, and then a year later, Kubota got him in a twister as well. Kubota's on a 2-fight win streak. He has that twister submission as well as an arm lock. He's a very, very talented grappler. 4 submissions. Also can bang 3 KO TKOs. His opponent does have power, but yeah, I think Kubota is going to go 2-0 against him here. And as DC says, if you go 2-0, there is no rivalry. There is no rivalry. All right. Those are the prelims. Those are my picks. J-Wolf, what do you think?
I'm going with you. All your picks on the prelims. Like I said, I'm not really... Yeah. Plus, I mean, I'm just... Look, dude, if they were superior rule set, I'd be into them, but it's just... To me, they're just amateur bouts. They're 2 rounds, not, the pussified rules, and just... I mean, the kickboxing bout, I'll probably, be more into. Well, I don't know. We'll see how they go. They might be bangers, like you're saying, but
J Kickboxing is always good. They literally just pluck guys from Crush and Rise, which are honestly really good. And every time K1 impresses me, then they take 2 steps back. So I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick to RIZIN.
I can't believe that they're not broadcasting the K1 anymore. It's like, dude, come on, you guys. We got money here in hand, ready to give you. We want to see King K1 shows. Come on, give us some shows. But I mean, hey,
They tease
like I
us.
said, RIZIN, they broadcast international for free with replay. That's another thing we got to make sure to let people know. If you can't make it, if you can't stay up all night for this RIZIN show, it's going to be replayed for free too. So you just have to wait a day for them to do, scrub the copyrighted music and stuff like that, and then they'll upload it for free for you. So it's just going to be awesome. And you know what? The RIZIN landmark, the cage shows, they have a lightning fast pacing.
Yeah, there's not even like a crazy opening ceremony or anything. It's like go, go, go.
Exactly. They have the landmark has the record for a RIZIN show. If I'm not mistaken, one of their landmark shows, previous ones is 15 plus bouts, and it was only like 5 hours long. Like it ended before 2 a.m. Pacific time, or ended like right at 2 a.m. Pacific time, or something like that. And it started at like 9-ish or something like that, right? And just it was incredibly. It was the record. It was the record for a show. 15 plus bouts, 5 hours. So I'm expecting more of the same here. Like Aisha said, there's no opening ceremony. And the pace, they're not going to dilly dally between fights, man. It's you'll barely have time to tweet between the fights about if there's like an awesome finish. Dude, you'll barely have time to even tweet something, and they'll already be into the VTRs for the next fight and have them walking out. You'll see. It's lightning fast, and just it's awesome. I love it. I love the fast pace, and especially for these prelims. Like if they're a decision, I mean, the prelims are gonna go by so fast. These are more so for just like the people to come into the arena, get to their seats. These are like the opening like prelim fights, but now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of this card, the 12 superior rule set fights kicking off with, sensational flyweight division. I'm telling you guys, pay attention to the flyweights on this card. It's going to be part of
and the international fighters on this card.
Thank you. Yes, there is so many international fighters on this card. I absolutely love it. This is what we were talking about. We wanted to see since the pandemic is over now and international guys are coming back, and just, man, I can't wait for 2025. I can't wait for this card, actually. I can't wait for New Year's. Can't wait for the future is so bright. It's amazing.
All right, well, let's get into it. First fight on the main card here, the official card, superior rule set action. We got Daichi Kitakata against Alibek Gadzhammatov. Gadzhammatov against Kitakata. Who do you have in this one?
Okay, but this one I am so excited for. There's a reason why they got this one kicking off the superior rule set bout, like kicking off the main card of the 12 superior rule set bouts, because Alibek Gadzhammatov, this guy is one of their hottest prospects that they signed right here. He's 4-0, and look at the competition they got. They're throwing him into the fire right away. They couldn't get so. Kitakata is 20-12, over 30 fights. Going up against a guy that hasn't even had 5 fights yet. That tells you how high they are on this prospect, Alibek. I mean, this is. I'm really excited to see what he can do, and I guarantee you guys, like we were saying in the intro and stuff, they're going to be doing they're going to re-sign Kyoji Horiguchi, and they're going to be doing the flyweight Grand Prix, the long-awaited flyweight Grand Prix that we've been asking for years. It seems like it's going to be happening next year, and these flyweight bouts on Landmark 10, to me, they're like auditions for that flyweight Grand Prix. So if you see a flyweight on this Landmark 10 card that puts on a sensational performance, there's a good bet they're going to be called up for the opening round of the 2025 flyweight Grand Prix. And this spout right here is one of the ones right here. This is one of the ones to watch for that, for many reasons, but that reason particularly because I'm telling you guys, I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about Alibek and the international fighters on this card. I think this is going to be a banger. There's a reason why they put this one first of the 12, because I mean, Aisha, you go ahead, read your notes. I'm sure you got plenty of stuff on this kid. I'm just really high on him. What's one of my feature bouts that I want you guys to really watch. It's going to be awesome. And
so I'm guessing you're picking Alibek to win?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Here's
what do the odds say about this kid?
So he is the favorite at -350.
Wow. Look at the competition he's facing. He's got facing a guy with over 30 fights, well over 500, 20 wins, only 12 losses. That's well over 500. Massive experience difference. And Alibek's only got 4 fights, and he's still a minus 350 favorite. Incredible.
All of his fights have been in ACA. The last guy he beat was actually submission. The first submission victory. The 3 other victories have been by KO. So he's got hands. He's good at wrestling, and he's got some submissions in his arsenal as well. So he beat a 5-2 guy and a 5-4 guy. The rest of the guys that he's beat, well, the first 2 guys, you know, got 1-0 guy and a 1-1 guy. I mean, he's under 5 professional fights, so I'm not really going to critique him on his opponent's records. I'm going to critique him on his performances, and he's looked absolutely dominant thus far. Daichi, I mean, look, he's a solid veteran. Yeah, well over 500. He is only 2-3 in his last 5 fights, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak and hasn't fought in a year and 7 months. And then before then, he fought 2 years ago. So he hasn't been super active, which he's 33 years of age, 10 years older than that of this young, explosive prospect who has power. He's got strength. He's explosive. So much potential. And RIZIN must just be so excited they were able to nab this prospect. Like I said, last 2 wins have been against solid guys. Finished all of his fights in all rounds too, not just the first round. Because sometimes you see guys who come in like 5-fight win streak or 6-fight win streak or even like 10-fight win streak, all finishes in the first round. Then you're like, okay, well, what if they get into the second and third? And we saw that on Dana White Contender Series with a few guys who got absolutely exposed as far as their gas tank and just like panicking when they're unable to finish a guy. So I like that he has finishes in every single round. He's kind of been in all situations. Kitakata is more of a decision guy. Kind of good everywhere, not great in any particular spot. And yeah, last loss was to a prospect who we are all very familiar with in Makoto Shinryu. Hey, they wanted to see if Shinryu was the real deal as well as far as a prospect, as he's faced some adversity here, and you know, he was able to out grapple that of Kitakata and just actually finish him. I think Alibek is going to do the same. Whereas Shinryu is more of like a methodical fighter, right? He kind of takes some time to get into the fight and then he'll latch onto you and finish you. Whereas Alibek, like I said, he's been in all situations, but his pacing and his explosiveness is way more than Shinryu. So another tough prospect to deal with for Kitakata, and one who might, as far as like stylistically, be the tougher guy to go against. So yeah, I'm going Alibek on this one. For the most part, I'm picking a lot of favorites on this one. This is a very like favorite heavy card, but there's a few just like eye rolling and shocking underdogs that I feel like you guys have to pick, and we'll get into those later in the show as well. But anyways, that is my pick for that one. Let's get to the next one as we get to Hiro Yamaniha against Seigo Yamamoto. I'm excited for this one. J Wolf, who do you got in this next bout?
I got Yamaniha. He's, really? More experienced. Yes. And because Seigo Yamamoto, Rock Lee, he's under 500 and, but he's under 30 as well. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's tough to, I don't know. What do the odds say? I'm curious what the odds say. That's why I love the City Life Project, and all you guys that listen probably love the City Life Project, because we give the odds, for the betting odds for these cards. I think you're the only one that does this, by the way. So that's awesome. I want to hear what the odds are for this one.
Yamaniha is the favorite at minus 225. Yamamoto is the slight underdog at plus 163. And shout out to Betway, the only sports book that I could find this landmark cards on.
Yeah, shout out to them for actually posting odds. I mean, that's great, and that makes sense because Yamaniha, he is almost 4. He's 38, right? And Rock Lee's not even 30 yet. So that's why the odds are kind of close on that one. But they are giving the edge to Yamaniha wisely. I mean, the guy's got a wealth of experience, over 30 fights again. And just, I mean, what's his recent record like? I got to look these up, and I can't remember exactly. Is he coming off a win or loss? So
he's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, but his last loss was to Akimoto, who's going to be on this card as well, who knocked him the out, bro.
Yes, that was the Prince of RIZIN. He's on this card too, by the way. the Prince of RIZIN Akimoto's
They
on
might
this
even
card
share a
too.
locker room.
Yeah, so maybe they're like, feeling bad for Yamaniha, but Yamamoto. I mean, that's interesting that the odds are kind of, they don't have him as that big of an underdog for Rock Lee Yamamoto. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this fight plays out. But yeah, I'm picking Yamaniha.
Going with the experienced guy.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Even though he's older, almost 40, 38. I'm still going him for the experience factor.
Well, he's one of those half Brazilians, half Japanese guys who trains with Kleber, who trains with Satoshi. Now, despite being a very good grappler, he only has 5 submissions in his 22 MMA wins, which is interesting. 4 KO TKOs, but he's a decision machine despite training with absolute killers who are finishing machines in Kleber and Satoshi, which is interesting. 13 decisions, 4-2 in RIZIN, 6-5 in Pancrase, 4-0-1 in Deep, and 2-2 draws in Fighting Network ZST. But he is coming off a loss to a prospect who knocked him out and who's also on this card before then, who's on a 2-fight win streak. However, against Takoro, who's, a legend but an aging fighter, and Kawamura, who's fine, but again, not top of the division. Yuki Motoya beat him, and then a loss to Kaiaskura. So, not like the worst losses there. He's just not as dangerous as that of a Seigo Yamamoto, who was on a 6-fight losing streak before retiring, then saying, you know what? No, I ain't fucking leaving. And he came back and has gone on a 3-fight win streak. Won a decision against, it was kind of a tune-up fight, a decision against a 0-1 guy, and then knocked out a 3-1 guy, and then knocked out a 6-1-1 fighter. So 3-fight win streak within the last year, 2 knockouts, 1 decision, 2 out of the 3 fighters notable. You know what? This is one of those swings I'm taking on an underdog, because if this goes the distance, Yamaniha is going to win. But if this ends in the first or second round, it's going to be because Yamamoto knocks him out. So I'm going with Rock Lee getting the knockout here. 3 fights in a row in the comeback. I don't care if he's under 500. He's got power in the punches. He needs to get it done early, though. Obviously, Yamaniha is getting older. Got KO'd by a young guy last fight, and that wasn't too long ago either. And that was a brutal knockout. That was that was 5 months ago. That's a decent amount of time to recover. Lost 6 in a row. Rock Lee retired. Comes back. 3-fight win streak, 2 knockouts. He's got to be feeling it right now. He's got to be... Well, I mean, there is momentum behind him, right? There's some helium behind his career. And Yamaniha, decision guy, definitely more well-rounded, definitely more experienced, definitely way better on the ground where he can at least just rack up some control time. But he did look slower in his last fight. His striking wasn't on the same level. And if Rock Lee can keep this on the feet, that's going to be dangerous. Love that Rock Lee fights in Black Combat as well. That's such a fun league. He's also 2-3-1 in Gratchen, 1-2 in Deep, and 0-1 in RIZIN.
Black Combat is a Korean league. Yeah. And Rock Lee is half Korean, that they said on the Focus Fights podcast. And so, this is 2 half Japanese fighters going at it right here. And it's going to be awesome.
He's only 29.
Exactly. So I agree with you. He's a very live dog, but I'm still going with the favorite Yamaniha with the experience factor. So, are you picking Rock Lee here?
I'm picking Rock Lee. This is one of the few underdogs that I'm picking on this card. He is not a lock. There is an underdog lock, but stay tuned. Keep watching. We'll reveal it as we get up the card here. All right, let's get to the next one. We have Rikuto Dark Shirakawa against Magerram Gasanzade.
Yeah, he's an Azerbaijani fighter, because the main event is Vugar Karamov, and all the Azerbaijani bros are on this card right here, and here this is one of them. So this is one of the fights
straight out of prison, baby, right back into a cage. Funny enough, out of one cage into another. Of course, it's a landmark event. I feel like this is low key bar trolling. I really do.
You think so?
No, 100%. Because he could have put these guys on New Year's, but nope. I'm not going to put him in a ring. I'm going to put him in a cage. I mean, look at the poster. Look at the poster, right? It's Karamov there, and what's in front of him? Bars?
The cage.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, because they're trying to show to the world that, hey, we do cage fights too, because that's been one of the criticisms, is that that they're only supposedly only in a ring, right? But we're like, no, they have a cage series too, and you're gonna see. And there's something about the cage and superior rule set that go together like peas and carrots. Like I don't know what it is. It just like look at the first cage event that RIZIN did. RIZIN Trigger first. That is arguably in the top 3 events of all time for the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation, in my opinion. Just so action packed. And you remember one championship used to allow grounded kicks in the cage as well. And they pushed out for sponsors, but they were having so much action, superior rule set action in their cage, in the one championship cage. And Kaposa, the GOAT Kaposa on Twitter or X, he thinks that was part of the reason why they got rid of the grounded kicks in one championship. But the real reason is because the Sachi pushed out for sponsorship. The sponsors being pussies about it. But it's still, when they had superior rule set allowed in the cage, it was bringing the action almost every single event. And just like in the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation cage, the landmark cage, something about it, bro. It just brings the action. I'm so excited for this card. There's 12 superior rule set bouts, and I feel like we are going to get some superior rule set action on this card. Because we haven't really got that much this whole year, right? We only got a couple superior rule set finishes, and one of them is on this card too. The RIZIN Prince, as I like to call him, Akimoto. So it's going to be really interesting to see that. But you're right. The Azerbaijani bros, straight out of you said straight out of prison. I don't think they had to go to prison. I think they were only like a couple of them had to go. It was for an assault, something about an assault case or something like that happened to them, right? And then they were going through the whole court system earlier this year.
Hooliganism.
Oh yeah, hooliganism. That's right. It wasn't assault. It was hooliganism. And they're having to deal with the court system this whole year, and it's finally cleared up. And remember on the previous show, I were speculating about, is he going to get the Charles Felony Bennett pass to come into Japan to fight again? But apparently he didn't even need it. Yeah, apparently he didn't even need it. So it wasn't even a felony. So they're all coming back in now on this landmark card, and I cannot wait to see how they perform. And this one right here, this is the first one of the night. Magerram Gasanzade, and the guy's 10-1. Azerbaijan, I guess he's got great grappling as well. He trains, I guess, in Khabib's camp. I was told on the Focus Fights podcast that we did. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing this guy. If Gasanzade, if he gets him to the ground, my favorite theory that I like to tell people is I call it the GSP with grounded knees theory. All right, you take a grinding wrestler or a grinding grappler, you throw them under superior rule set with grounded knees and grounded kicks, and the theory is that it's going to make it more exciting. And it's going to instead of being a grind out, wrestle fest, it's going to be an grounded knee action packed fest is what we're going to see, hopefully.
Yeah, Gasanzade is going to absolutely destroy Shirakawa. Like, this is going to be one of the most brutal finishes on the card, I think. Honestly, Gasanzade not only out of Khabib's camp, but he also, I don't know if it was his last fight or if it was this one. He was in California Team Alpha Male as well. So he's been training out of with elite company. He's 10-1. The guy he lost to was pretty damn good, a 6-2 guy as well. He ripped apart AMC, which is a solid promotion. 5 KO TKO, so he can actually strike. Now, his opponent is a striker with pretty much little to no grappling, despite him having a very long career. Just doesn't have good takedown defense. Just doesn't have a lot of scrambles from his back. So even if this does stay on the feet, like, Gasanzade is no slouch on the feet either. Now, and if he recognizes, okay, I'm not getting the better of this opponent, like, take him down, ground and pound, and finish him with ease. No submission victories because he likes to brutalize his opponents. 5 KO TKOs, 5 decisions, and if it does go decisions, it's ground and pound. Like, it is, you do not want to be in there with him, sort of thing. He's on a 3-fight win streak against solid guys, 7-2, 10-2, and against one kind of stinker, 3-3. And it's like his career's not just full of cans. Like, In his third professional fight, he beat a 4-0 guy. Sixth professional fight, he beat a 5-2 guy. There are some cans sprinkled in there as well. But then 10-2, 7-2. No, he's solid. Love this. I'm just excited that we get to see him again. Now, Shirakawa, 12-10-1 as a pro. Yes, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Yes, did win his last fight. 5 KO, TKO, 0 submissions. He's only lost twice by submission, but he either gets TKO'd on the ground or just, actually, 5 KO, TKO losses, only 3 decision losses. He just gets beat up on the ground, to be perfectly honest. He may not get submitted, but he gets beat up on the ground. He gives up that half guard where you can basically get into that modified half guard side control, get your knees planted, and you can posture up, or just basically full mount. He is 7-6-1 in deep and 500 in RIZIN. So he's barely above 500 in deep right now. Yeah, he beat a 34-25 guy in Nakamura in his last fight, but man, he's losing to Yachi. Draw in kickboxing where he was trying to get a tune-up fight. Look, he was on a 4-fight win streak before he was originally going to fight Karamov. That fight was, that fight was actually canceled back in 2022. And just has not looked good since that win streak. So I am going with the massive favorite in this one, which is Gasanzade, who is -650. Shirakawa, if he does get this one done or just land a crazy shot which knocks him out on the feet, would be one of the bigger upsets on the card, as he is +400. So I like the well-roundedness of Gasanzade. He's got KO ability. He's well-rounded. Has amazing takedowns. Way better grappler. Again, Shirakawa, no takedown defense seemingly, but a really good striker. This is his first time at bantamweight, by the way. Shirakawa fighting at bantamweight for the first time.
What was he at before? Was he at featherweight or was he at flyweight?
I believe featherweight.
Okay, so he's dropping down a weight class, so he's going to be a nice big fighter for Gasanzade. So that's going to be interesting to see how Gasanzade deals with the size differential, but like you're saying, he doesn't have the grappling to hang with Gasanzade. So what I'm hoping for is I want to see some Kevin the Monster Randleman skyscraper grounded knees. That's what I'm hoping for. That's kind of the kind of finish I want to see from this fight right here.
Yeah, I think if it goes to the mat, it's done. Sort of thing. As soon as Gasanzade doesn't want to play with his food anymore on the feet and get some boxing rounds in, I think he's all right, I'm going to finish this now. Or he knocks him just the fuck out. Just flatlines him. Yeah, this one could be nasty. All right, moving on to the next one. We have the only Canadian on the card. We don't see Canadians much fighting in RIZIN, so this one's very exciting. The younger brother of TJ Laramie, former UFC fighter and pro MMA fighter, Tony Laramie, who is absolutely ripping apart BTC, a solid promotion in Canada. He is taking on Yutaro Muramoto in this one. Now, Muramoto is kind of like a gatekeeper. He's pretty good everywhere, but not really great anywhere. And he's beaten some decent guys, and he's fought a lot of good competition throughout his career. But 12-8-2. His record kind of reflects it. He'll fight whoever RIZIN wants him to fight, even if he recognizes that the odds aren't in my favor. It may not be the best matchup. He's 30 years of age, a respectable 4 KO TKO, 2 submissions, 6 decision victories, 2-3 in RIZIN, and he's pretty solid and deep, going 7-3-2 in the promotion. 12-8-2, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, is coming off a split decision win against a 7-1 guy in deep. But Tony Laramie, man, he's built different. 5-0 in his last 5 fights, 9-2 out of Windsor, Ontario, but had a tough upbringing. I don't know if you saw some of the interviews that were on the RIZIN YouTube channel where he was telling just his
RIZIN
story.
Confession series. You're talking about the RIZIN Confession series. Everybody make sure you go check those out. Those are the behind the scenes footage type of deals, where they follow the fighters in fight camp and stuff like that and do behind the scenes footage type of stuff. They're called the RIZIN Confession series. They're very well done. They're on RIZIN's YouTube channel. Go check them out. They're fantastic. And also Tony Laramie did an interview with the number 2 at the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation, Shingo Kasawagi.
who asked him some tough questions, man. Who asked him some tough questions about his family. He comes from like a broken home. His parents dealt with addiction. He, has multiple siblings, but is only tight with two of them due to being separated from them at a young age. And he's been a fighter his whole life, man. He's been a fighter his whole life, and right now just absolutely crushing it. 6 KO TKO, 0 submissions, and has one of his 2 losses being a submission loss, but he's a pretty decent wrestler. 3 decisions. He's won his only fight in LFA. He's 4-0 in Prospect Fighting Championship, 2-2 in TKO, but his last fight he beat a 12-9 Josh Smith in the first round to claim the BTC title. Before then was on a 7-fight win streak in mixed martial arts, 1 boxing fight in there as well, which he won, and he also beat a 16-8 guy in 2020 to claim the PFC title. So 2 regional titles, and his 2 losses were early in his pro MMA career, and he's also won 2 amateur titles, going 4-0 as an amateur, also grappling in one of my favorite grappling competition names in Canada, Thick Boy Fight Night, which has no relation to Brendan Shaw, but they just have this like big Buddha as their logo, and they do some grappling tournaments up there in Canada. So very much a brawler, okay? Some wrestling, right? Like there's a base there. It's not his bread and butter, and he's not a jiu-jitsu guy. Like the basics are there to defend and get back up to his feet, but he's very much a brawler. He fights, and with his friggin' mullet, kind of looks like, as a recent comparison, who has like a brawling style, Diego Lopez in the UFC on the feet. Not even close to the same grappling accolades as him at all, but like similar brawling style. Can land some good jabs on the outside, but when he's in the pocket, nasty body shots. Very, very good boxer, and just brings a tenacity to his game. So I really like this one. He is the heavy favorite, coming in at -450. So I am going with the favorite in this one. He's got good kicks, so his kickboxing and boxing are very sound. Double regional MMA champ, like I said, and his last 3 wins are first round knockouts.
Yeah, I'm in a total agreement. Absolutely love this fight. This is another one that I want y'all to pay attention to. This is flyweight. Remember that, and I believe that Laramie is one of their prominent signings that they really showcase. And I believe that if he puts on a great performance here, again, he's going to be part of that 2025 flyweight Grand Prix. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does here. And that interview we're talking about with Shingo Kasawagi, the number 2 of Epic RIZIN, that is on the RIZIN.TV channel for free. So go check that one out. And the Confession series, behind the scenes footage, that's on RIZIN's YouTube channel. So check those out. They're amazing, fantastic. I cannot wait to see Tony. His nickname is the Wild Man. I can't wait to see how wild he gets on a superior rule set. Love how he's got the mullet, everything. I'm hoping he does a fantastic walkout as well. I mean, since he's Canadian, and he's a flyweight, I think he should do something with like a Wolverine style from the X-Men style walkout. I think he'd be great, cosplaying as Wolverine for a walkout. Or on the Confession series and the interview with the Shingo, he was talking about
he's a pro wrestling fan. Yes,
I was just about to bring that up. Stone Cold Steve Austin. So he might come out with to a Stone Cold Steve Austin type of walkout or something, and maybe if he wins in sensational fashion, he might get on the mic and go, "Oh, Laramie 316 says I just whooped your ass," or some shit like that. It'd be awesome. I just can't wait to see how he does.
Hey, full hockey gear would be great too, and he has to take it all off like before.
Yeah. Oh, is he a hockey player too? I didn't know that.
I know. I mean, he's from Ontario, so Windsor. Shout out to the Windsor Spitfires. They have a pretty prominent OHL team there, and I mean, if you're from Ontario, Canada, I mean, you've watched some hockey, even if it's not your favorite sport.
If you're Canadian, you got hockey in your blood, right?
Dude, it's true. It's even. You know how like on SportsCenter and everything like that, it's like it's NFL first in the United States. Well, imagine that, but times 2 in Canada. It's only hockey.
Yeah.
and a little bit of Canadian football as well. Shout out to the CFL. Anyways. No, this one's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see a Canadian representative in a RIZIN Grand Prix. Is he, assuming he does stamp his ticket with a win, he does have to get past his opponent here. I mean, assuming he does stamp his ticket and get into the Grand Prix, I believe that would be the first Canadian to ever compete in a RIZIN Grand Prix.
Oh, is it really?
I'd imagine so in the last 10 years.
For sure in the modern new era. I know
Newton competed in Pride, but the same Pride. This is RIZIN. It's different, right? Carlos Newton competed back in the day. No, I believe in the new era, in the last decade, he'll be the first Canadian to ever compete in a Grand Prix in RIZIN, which is really cool.
That's huge. That's huge. It's gonna be awesome. I cannot wait to see how he does. See what kind of performance he puts on here. I'm really looking forward to seeing if he embraces the entire pageantry.
I think he already has, dude, with his interviews and his things. I think he will. And you know what? He's making big boy money now. Not freaking, no joke. Like, he was probably being paid like $700 to $1,200 in BTC max. So like, he's going to be making some decent money here, which is cool to see.
Absolutely. So I can't wait to see how he performs, and I can't wait to see if he does a walkout. He's such a big pro wrestling fan. I just can't wait to see how, if he embraces the pageantry, and like you're saying, he probably already has. So I'm anticipating maybe a possible walkout of the year contender here. That's what I'm anticipating.
I mean, it's a landmark card, so I don't know if we can. He doesn't have the ability to do that. I don't know if a landmark walkout can win fight of the year because it's not big enough. But
it's in an arena. It's in an arena.
That is true. No, that's true. It's not like in freaking Azerbaijan at their freaking YMCA.
Yeah, and it's not like the UFC at the Apex Shed warehouse like UFC does, right?
That's true. Okay, yeah, no, we'll keep our eye on it. But I imagine on a bigger stage he would have a lot of fun with it as well.
Well, yeah, for sure. Like if he doesn't do something here for this walkout, I guarantee if he wins in sensational fashion, punches his ticket to the 2025 Flyweight Grand Prix, that's when he's going to go big for the pageantry.
I can't wait for Lene Hart to be like, out of Windsor, Ontario, Canada!
Yes, that's going to be awesome
stoked.
For y'all Canucks up there.
Hell yeah. All right, we got a lot more fights to get to, so let's keep going here. We have in the next one, Yuya Shibata up against the ever letting us down, as well as his fan base, Hirora Kondo. How is this guy still in the promotion? Oh yeah, he's a Japanese top team guy, and he's one of the Asakura brothers' training partners. He is 1-4 in his last 5 fights. He was supposed to have kind of a layup. I mean, in textbook Japanese fashion, they give an absolute legend in Tokoro a way younger fighter who has the only thing he has is knockout power, doesn't have anything else in his arsenal other than that. And Tokoro, of course, in like the most beautiful storybook ending, knocks out Kondo and might even get into another fight because he said if he lost the fight to Tokoro that he would retire. But then he gets a knockout win, so he's like, might as well collect one more paycheck doing it, right? Might as well. Before then, Kondo in his last 5 fights was on a 3-fight losing streak, split decision loss to Nakamura, which honestly wasn't a bad split decision loss. Lost to Ito as well. Ito, I don't know how that one was a split decision. Ito absolutely just destroyed him in that one, in my opinion, all 3 rounds. And then lost in deep unanimous decision as well. So he's not getting knocked out left, right, and center. It's just he's very one-dimensional. He might look like he's got a good stance and good footwork, but he kind of just holds his hands up high, boxes in the pocket, and just bounces around, right? Like, I wouldn't even say he has good footwork. He's just moving a lot. He's not necessarily moving in the right direction. He's just moving and kind of bouncing up and down Alex Morono style without a purpose. 3 KO, TKO, 3 submissions, 3 decisions. He's 11 decision losses, bro. And he's 5-6 in deep. Shit, dude, he's 500 in War Dog Cage Fight. If you are 500 in War Dog Cage Fight and have the training partners, the ability to train in the United States at the UFC PI, and freaking like UFC level gyms out there as well, the same gyms that Kai goes to, I mean, like, you should be more than 500 in War Dog Cage Fight.
Actually, you just brought up Kai. I want to make sure to give you a shout out right now because you were one of the first ones to call Kai Asakura going to UFC to get the title shot. That was all. Aisha, you like I can't find anybody else that was before you that was talking about that. So I want to give you a shout out for that now.
Thank you. If only they could also bring over Kyoji, but anyways.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why would they not bring over Kyoji but Kai? It's like maybe Kai signed for less money or something, or Kyoji wanted more money or something
The UFC doesn't care about money, dude. They want the Japanese audience. There's some sort of, when they parted ways last time, maybe Dana was like, you know what, this guy, I'm never going to sign him again. Honestly, because like there's that division needs fighters. He was 8-1 before. Like there's no reason. The Japanese love him. There's no reason not to bring him over, especially if you're bringing Kai. So anyways, we don't have time to get into that now, but I want to get to the bottom of why, like there's something there that hampered that relationship, right? So
you know what it is? Dingleberry Dana White pulling his usual shenanigans. So that's what it is with that. So
anyways, Yuya Shibata, 19-7 as a pro. The monkey is legit. He's in his prime, 32 years of age. 10 submissions, 2 KO, TKO, 7 decisions, 1-0 in RIZIN, 11-6 in Deep, and 4-1 in Shuto, Japan. You know what? You want to know the difference between both these two guys? He has a fucking above 500 record in every single league that he has fought in, unlike Kondo. He's on a 3-fight win streak. First round submission with a knee bar, second round submission triangle choke, third round submission triangle choke. His only recent loss in the last 5 years was to Shinryu. So there you go.
Shinryu is one of the top. He's top class.
Yeah, Kondo's gonna get submitted in the first round.
Yeah,
Kondo's gonna get submitted in the first round. This one, I have my notes here. Yuya is way better. Way better. He's in his prime. He's a submission machine. 3 sub win streak. He's hard to finish. Oh, that's another thing. J-Wolf, that's another thing. He's only been finished twice. Once via KO, once via submission. So Kondo, sure, maybe has a small chance of knocking him out. I don't think it's a big chance at all. He's got a winning record in all the Japanese top leagues. He's only lost to top guys. And like we said, Japanese top team is the only, and his connection to the Ask Herb brothers is the only reason why Kondo is still in RIZIN. And like he's popular on social media and stuff, but not to the level of some of these other guys. So if Kondo does get the finish, like maybe in the eyes of like the actual fans like you and me, it's like one of the biggest upsets of the night. In the eyes of the bettors, though, it is not, as Kondo is the underdog, but not by a lot. He is plus 140, whereas Shibata's minus 190. So I am going with the favorite in Shibata. I wonder what they know that we don't know, or if he's just that popular, or if they just want to believe in their guy. Because like I don't think Kondo has really good submission defense either.
Yeah, that's incredible. I can't believe the odds are that close.
I think they're wrong on that one. Like I would stay away from that. If Kondo was like plus 300, okay, whatever. Throw a couple bucks on it for a knockout. But I don't know about this one.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it probably is? It's because Hiroya is the 25, right? So they're probably saying,
yeah, but
okay,
Shibata's only 32. Dude, Shibata's in his prime.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so
he's not some 40-year-old. Like he's in his prime on a 3-fight win streak, subbing way better competition than that of Kondo.
Oh, you know what also might it be? Look at the on Tapology, they have Hiroya listed as 135 pounder. So maybe Hiroya is moving down in weight and is going to have the size advantage for this bout. Maybe that's why the odds are so close.
But Tapology, they got 92% of their voters picking Shibata as well. So I think people are betting like straight up, putting their money on Kondo with their heart, not their head on this one. I truly believe that.
That's probably it. Probably all the Asakura Bros fans are like, oh man, we gotta back our boy here. He trains with them, so
maybe they drop big money on him.
I'm with you. I got Monkey Shibata getting it done here. Just, I mean, you know, he's above 500. That's a big thing for me. And what's the momentum like on this one? You said Hiroya's coming off a loss, Shibata's coming off of a W.
3 submission win streak.
Okay, so he's got the momentum clearly on his back here on this one. So that's another huge factor. So, I mean, but hey, if the odds are that close, I mean, shoot, I mean that might be worth putting some money down on this one for, you know. I'd say
I think it's good odds just to pick the underdog on this one person, or the favorite on this one personally.
You think so? Even though it looks like he might be out of class on this one, like out of his league on this one a little bit.
I think you stick with Shibata on this one. I think you stay away from Kondo. If Kondo was like a way bigger underdog, if he's like plus 400, sure. At least you're gonna make some money on a fluke, but like you're not even gonna make that much money on him picking him as the underdog on this one. So like I don't know. I would maybe include Shibata in like if you're doing parlays, but like I don't know. I don't think there's any universe where Kondo wins this one. I think if you put them fighting 10 times, Kondo doesn't even win one. I might look like a big fool here. I know the X Factor is his power, but I might look like a big fool. But X Factor's power against a guy who's only been finished via KO, TKO once.
And the superior rule set. Don't forget the superior rule set is like another X Factor where, they could, if he gets him down, you get a grounded kick, grounded knee, grounded stomp, and if he goes to his back, there's also got to do grounded up kicks. All these different factors could play into this. So we'll see. Maybe, I don't know. I can't believe the odds are that close. That's incredible. But I'm with you. I'm going with Monkey Shibata, and just it's like you said. If you want to bet him on a parlay, that'd be good. But I wouldn't take Hiroya at the underdog only plus 100 like you're saying. Like it'd be better if he was plus 400. Then it might be worth it to throw like exactly what you're saying.
And 80% of Kondo's finishes are submissions. He ain't gonna sub Shibata. So good night, Jim Kite, as we say up in Canada. All right, next one. Coming up, we have Yuki Ito against Jung Hyun Lee. Now, I know RIZIN says that Jung Hyun Lee is like, I don't know what it is, like 8-2 or whatever. It ain't true. All right, it ain't true. He's 4-2. Okay, he's 4-2. He's had a lot of exhibition fights, which were 3 3-minute rounds, unlike like the 2 5-minute rounds from Deep. Jung Hyun Lee, he's a yapper. He's been selling this fight. He's been running his mouth. He's only 22 years of age, so a lot of room to develop going up against a veteran who's still in his prime in Yuki Ito, who's 27 years of age. Now, Ito does have some momentum. Ito is 16-5 as a pro. 3-2 in his last 5 fights on a 3-fight win streak. Split decision against Kondo, which in hindsight, honestly, you probably want to just dominate him. But I honestly thought he did. Like, I didn't think that was worth a split decision. But anyways, I digress. Split decision victory against Kiram and a unanimous decision against Ueda. So again, a win's a win. Have they been the most exciting fights? No, but Ito is well-rounded. He does have some good strikes, and he's going up against a very, very green and inexperienced fighter in Jung Hyun Lee, who's 4-2 as a pro. 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He got outclassed by Shinryu in his last one. They literally just threw him into the fire. They knew they needed Makoto to get another win, so they threw this guy at him. 2 young guys. They could say, oh, prospect versus prospect. It really wasn't. Completely outclassed. He is, and if you look at the wins that he has, again, 4 wins in pro mixed martial arts, 3 KO TKOs, 1 decision. He does have that power. He does have good striking. His wrestling, like, he's strong, but it leaves a little bit more to be desired. Whenever he took a step up in competition, he lost. So he fought Mark Klimako and road to UFC, lost against an 8-1 Klimako, lost to 16-2-1 Shinryu. His only big wins have been against guys making their debut, guys who are 11-11, guys who are 4-8, 0-4. All his other wins between 2019 and 2021, there's been 1 kickboxing win in there and 1 actual win at Road FC. All the other ones were in a promotion called ARC, and they weren't official pro fights. So they were modified rules fights. The Tapology and Sherdog do not count. Now, as an amateur, he has a lot of experience there, and that can't be overlooked. 8-2 as an amateur, but a lot of split and unanimous decisions on that one. So this might be a case where Ito just like kind of just lays on him again or pins him in the corner and just gets the control time, lands the strikes there, or Ito like really beats him up and finishes the fight how he wants. Really, in my opinion, I think Jung Hyun Lee will come out like a freaking bat out of hell, come out like a rocket, maybe land some big shots, start to slow down a bit, and then it's like, how does Ito want to finish this fight? Does he want to put on a show for the fan and risk it a little bit to finish him, or is he just gonna hold him on the ground, hold him up against, or hold him in the corner and just get a split or unanimous decision victory? I am going with Ito though, and Ito is the favorite at This one's very interesting as well. Only minus 120. So those betting, I think, are just sick of Ito's close fights and are maybe banking on, look, man, if you fight again this way, luck might not go your way if there's a little bit more aggression coming from the other end. But anyways, I am going with Ito. I think he should be a higher favorite in this one, but I understand based on his last 3 wins and how they've went going up against a prospect, how this could be closer. But anyways, what say you?
I am actually going to go a different direction. I'm going to go with the international fighter, the Korean fighter here on this one. Because look, I really love this fight because it's two 20-year-olds, in the prime of their careers, 2 young guns going at it in this one. It's going to be really fun, I think. And I'm going to go with Jung Hung Lee. I just want to back my international fighter.
Pick him, by the way. He's minus 110.
Really? Wow, that's incredible. I can't believe the odds are that close. That's awesome. Yeah, so he's not Jung, he's not even an underdog? He's not even plus anything?
No, it's minus 120 for Ito, minus 110 for Jung Hung Lee.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a pick 'em.
That's an absolute pick'em fight for this one. Incredible. And Jung Hung Lee only got his official record is only 4-2, right? So I mean, this is Ito has way more experience. Like you're saying, though, split decision guy, and maybe that's why the odds are so close like that. But that's interesting, very interesting. This is a pick'em fight. So I'm going to go with Jung Hung Lee on this one. I'm going to go with my international fight. I feel good about this one. I didn't know it was going to be a pick'em fight on the odds. That's incredible.
I was a lot more confident picking Ito before I saw that. Then I was like, oh no. But also. I don't know if it was Confessions or on the interview as well, he was open about his straight up like gambling problems. Was Ito. Like, no joke, dude. No joke. So he loves to gamble, and he actually has funded his last 2 fight camps and his travel through his gambling winnings. So if he loses, it's actually not good because it sets him back because he can't gamble with as much, and he risks and doesn't have enough to play around with, which will fund his camp. So I don't know. It's kind of based, but also kind of concerning. But anyways,
you're not supposed to risk your livelihood on gambling. It's just supposed to be for fun. Right?
No, so that was straight up. I forget if it was Confessions or the interview, but that was on. I watched that leading up to this fight, which I thought was okay. You're just gonna tell that to the promotion that pays you. All right. Because gambling's legal in Japan now, right? You can just straight up cash money gamble now.
Yes, I believe it is, and they're coming around. They gotta just come around to the pot. They gotta get a little bit more lenient on the pot. That's a big factor of keeping guys out of the promotion, I think. And like we just saw what happened with Ensign, where he got busted, but he was not just doing pot. He had magic mushrooms and stuff like that. So, but they that's incredible here that they're getting more lax rules on gambling. They said get that to the pot as well. Just like what the UFC did. Remember how the UFC they lower the regulations on pot, and then now a lot more guys are not getting pulled from the fights and stuff like that. A lot more guys are fighting. So I just think that, and they got a bunch of guys in RIZIN, like Smokers Gym and stuff like that. So that's real interesting that they allow gambling.
I love how there's just like straight up a gym that they like embrace it. That they're just like, we're the Smokers Gym.
Exactly. So, but yeah, no, this fight I'm really excited. But it's like I said, 2 20-year-old hot young gun prospects going at it on this one. It's going to be a banger. And that is really interesting that the odds are a pick'em fight for this one. That makes it even more interesting in my opinion. So, but yeah, so you're going with Ito. Okay, I'm going with Jung Hung Lee. I'm going with the Korean international fighter on this one. Even though he's got way less experience, but I just feel like, the odds are that close for a reason. There's got to be maybe it's because Ito's a split decision guy.
And I think Jung Hyun Lee is the better grappler. I was able to find some footage on just some of his amateur fights too, and like just more of a wrestling style. But he's just built that way too. If you see just his body type too, he's just like fire hydrant thick, not the tallest guy. Ito obviously the better striker, but more of a point fighting style. Then I'm just gonna flat out knock you out. As Yuki Ito, as a 16-5 fighter, has 7 KO TKOs, only has 2 submissions and 7 decisions. So he's kind of split there. Again, a way better striker, has the ability to finish his fights, but recently has been fighting a lot more of a point fighting style. And honestly, fighting not to lose versus fighting to finish the fight, right? which we see, which, you know, some guys, that's how they do it. That's how they make their money. Ito obviously makes his money gambling, probably even more than fighting. But anyways,
and you know, that'll be a factor. Extra fire under his, you know, let the fire under him to get the win because he wants to get that gambling money. Plus, also, I'm looking at the Tapology stats, and it says he's the taller and has the longer reach.
Yeah, he's bigger. Like I said, Jung Hyun Lee, he's kind of like built like a little fire hydrant, right? Which suits him for like the wrestling style. But I think Ito's pretty good everywhere. I think he can manage on the ground. Not super dangerous there. A top flyweight in RIZIN, like, I guess, based off his 3-fight win streak, right? But he needs to start proving it. And if, put it this way, like, Kondo made it a close fight on paper. Again, I don't think it was that close. But still, regardless, you can't even have that discussion on if it was a close fight or not if you're going against Kondo and you want to be a top guy in the division, right? So if this is a close fight, I don't care what the odds say. Ito should be a step above this guy as far as like experience, where he's at in his career right now. And if it shows that they're on the same level, like the betting odds says, that's a problem for Ito. But that's on the other side, that is huge for Jung Hyun Lee because he gets thrown right into the top of the division.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Moving up the card here, we have, oh, look at that, another Japan versus Korean matchup in one of my favorite international fighters in all promotions. He's just one of my favorites. And, you know, it's funny that a lot of my favorite fighters are out of Korea, as I love Kwon Won-il in one championship as well. But Kyung Pyo Kim against Daigo Kuramoto. Man, Kyung Pyo Kim, one of my favorite Korean fighters, one of my favorite international fighters. Excited to see him back, coming off as a fan of Kim, a sad loss as he was beating Spike Carlisle, man. 2 rounds. He was beating him in those 2 rounds and ends up losing and getting finished in the third, and he never gets finished. So that one, as a fan of Kyung Pyo Kim, was hard to watch for me. The Red Horse is 13-5 as a pro. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, going up against a nice prospect coming out of deep, Daigo Kuramoto, 6-1 as a pro and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. And it's not like he's been crushing absolute cans. He's a Japanese top team guy, 3 KO TKOs, 3 decisions. His only loss comes via KO TKO, and he has been in deep throughout his entire pro MMA career thus far. He had one breaking down fight in his first pro fight where he landed a first round knockout. He has won via decision, and all the fights that he's finished have been via KO TKO, and they've all been in the first round. Now, has he fought a ton of notable opponents? No, but for a record such as 6-1, not bad. He's beaten a 3-2 guy when he was 1-1. Beat on a 4-7 guy. He actually took on Kitaoka, who's 44-26-9. Absolute legend there. He knocked him out in the first round. So honestly, his deep resume is not bad. Earned his opportunity here in RIZIN. However, the step up in competition, like this is fighting like guys right off the amateur scene, really getting their feet wet, not taking any, and pardon the pun, deep steps into the water just yet. Well, he's going balls deep into this one against Kyung Pyo Kim, who's 13-5. 13-5, like I said, in his prime, 32 years of age, 7 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 2 decisions, is good everywhere. Solid grappler, strong fighter, really, really good boxing. I mean, he was piecing up Spike Carlisle on the feet before Spike Carlisle went fucking full spider monkey and jumped on his back and was able to submit him. God, I was so sad, man. I was so sad. Hey, I love Spike. I love Spike Carlisle. I know you're very much the USA backing on that one, but like, I like... You know, Kim's my guy, okay? So I was devastated in that one. And I thought it was a really, really good fight as well. He's 2-1 in RIZIN, 3-2 in Road FC. Was on a 2-fight win streak before he fought Spike Carlisle. And honestly, if he beat Spike, he probably would have been in title contention. He lost a absolute bogus split decision to Anshul Jubilee in Road to UFC. UFC just needed someone from India, so they brought on Jubilee. Hated that one. Beat Usami, which is good. Beat Ragimov in Azerbaijan in the first round, which was good. He was the Heat champion Hasn't won a title in Road FC just yet, but he's gotten close. He's fought everywhere, man. He's fought all around the world. He's fought in UAE War. He's fought in AFC. He's beaten some top guys in Road FC. Hell, he took Arman Sarukian to a decision in Road FC. That's huge because Arman Sarukian took Islam Makhachev to a decision. Arman Sarukian took Charles Oliveira to a decision. He's fighting for the title next against Makhachev.
So he's top 5
he's top. He's number 1 ranked right now. He just beat Charles Oliveira in a title eliminator fight. Arman Sarukian is the second best lightweight in the UFC right now as far as the ranking goes.
And he took him to a decision. So that's big. That's huge.
Kyung-Pyo Kim doesn't get finished often. He's been finished twice. Once by Spike Carlisle and once by Nimur Nagibin, who's an 18-6 fighter in RCC who ground and pounded him in the first round after dropping him, right? So, I mean, I'm going Pyo Kim on this one. Daigo Kuramoto, hey, you got your shot. But in textbook Japanese fighting fashion, it's like, you ain't getting no layup fight. Take one of the top Korean fighters out there, a guy who, if anything, we want to get back in the win column so he can fight for a title. This is at lightweight, so, Kyung-Pyo Kim, he's a little too heavy to be in the flyweight Grand Prix, but they could bring Sucho Kim back for the flyweight Grand Prix, which would be cool to see as well. But we'll talk about that on the New Year's show. How do you see this one going? I mean, do you think that this prospect, who does have power in the mitts, lands a knockout on a guy who's tough to finish in Kim?
No, I'm going with your pick, Kyung-Po Kim. I just, like I said, I love my international fighters, and he's a very good fighter.
Except when he's fighting Spike Carlisle.
Well, I mean, there's no shame in that loss. Spike Carlisle's a great fighter as well, and like you said, he was winning that fight up until Spike just went full, berserker and got him in the with the choke and got him.
No, it was a great comeback. Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. So I'm looking for Kyung-Po Kim to bounce back on this fight right here. So I'm picking him, and I'm curious, what do the odds say? Do they have him as a heavy favorite or what? Yeah. yeah. You're definitely top class in the mix now.
All right, let's get to the next one, ladies and gentlemen. This is the intermission portion, then they have 5 fights after the intermission. We are going to get 2 announcements for the New Year's show, right?
Oh, yeah, I was about to ask you, can we talk about what's going to the intermission real quick? Just, spitballing, ideas of what the announcements could be. So what do you think is going to be announced?
They're gonna pump the flyweight Grand Prix and share a commercial, like a cold open for, or maybe some sort of cold open for it, right? I think we're gonna see that. I think if some of these guys leading up to the intermission win and are okay, I think they might even bring them back into the ring and get some of the flyweights out there, which I think will be cool. And then I think they will show maybe an early promo as well for the New Year's show. And they'll announce the 2 fighters or the 2 matchups, probably bring them in the ring as well. And then I also think that they will officially announce the Bellator collaboration.
Oh, good. I pray that you're right on that. That would be that would be fantastic. I would just love. That's what I hope happens. I'm guessing it's going to be they'll probably bring in Chihiro and Kleber since they're in Japan and have them face off in the ring to hype up the New Year's Eve show, and then
Tanabe also is going to apologize to the fans for another canceled fight, even though it wasn't his fault this time.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what one of them would be, but I don't think that's going to count for the 2 announcements that we're supposed to get. I think it's going to be like you're saying. I'm hoping what you said is the actual correct prediction. I was thinking it's just going to be a couple fights are announced, right? I'm thinking it's going to be the official, they're going to have the face-off for Chihiro and Kleber and hyping up the New Year's Eve main event and maybe announce another, a co-main or something for the New Year's Eve event. But I like your predictions much better. I mean, that would be sensational. We get officially announced the 2025 Flyweight Grand Prix. Maybe they say, "Oh yes, we re-signed Kyoji." They bring Kyoji in the ring.
Maybe they sign him right there. They be bringing a table and the feather, and they do them right there. They extend them.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. And then the creme de la creme to get the official announcement of the PFL or Bellator collaboration mega event portion of the New Year's Eve show, and maybe get a little preview of who they're thinking about bringing over for that portion. So that'd be fantastic. That'd be sensational. Actually, I hope that happens.
Yeah, I hope they make Don Davis wear a kimono. And they make him think that it's like an honor, but they're just clowning him, being like, we dressed you up as a girl.
put him in a fundoshi and have him bang the drum.
Oh my goodness. Yes. See, that's more honorable. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's so funny. Nobody wants to see that, Jay. Nobody wants to see that.
I shouldn't even have put that out in the universe. What if that happens now?
That's sickening. Anyways, let's get to the next few fights here. We got Hiroki Suzuki against Kiyoma Akimoto, one of the surging prospects in Japanese mixed martial arts right now. And we talked about this last preview and prediction show. We said, can he check another box? Can he get over another big test here? And he did it in the most beautiful and easiest fashion I think we that honestly you and I didn't even expect. We thought it was going to be more of a challenge, and Akimoto just absolutely dismantled Hokumura, man. It was too easy, knocking him out with some grounded knees of all things too, man. Unbelievable stuff there. 18 years of age is Akimoto. He is undefeated, 6-0, ripped through the competition in deep. 4 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 1 decision. Ripped through the competition in deep. And in his last fight before coming over to RIZIN, he fought at FAW against a 22-10 guy. So that was against actually Yamaniha, who he knocked out, like we said earlier, in FAW. That wasn't even in Deep or RIZIN. That was in a different promotion. And then that was like, again, his first huge test, and then comes in against Hokumura, another big test, makes it look even easier by knocking him out in the first round. I mean, what can't this kid do? He can grapple. He's strong. He can roll. He can be an offensive threat. He can get back up to his feet, and he can force fights and keep fights on the feet as well. So, do I think this is like another step up in competition? No. Do I think it's going to be a good fight because of the style matchup? Absolutely. Now, Suzuki is a kickboxing and even dabbled in some Muay Thai, but a kickboxing crossover into mixed martial arts late in his career. He's 39 years of age, but I mean, his physique and the way he fights, I mean, could have fooled me. He looks like he's friggin' 25, 30 in there. He is coming off a knockout loss to Ren. But that was 3 months ago. Is it too soon given his age to come back? Sugiyama was 0-1 and he knocked him out in the first round. Before then was on a 2-fight win streak against some decent opponents where he landed some ground and pound finishes in the first round. What's interesting is though Suzuki has a very solid kickboxing background and is very dangerous, I mean, he is the general killer. Whenever he realizes that, I can outstrike my opponent easily, he just takes him to the ground and beats him up there. Like, really, if you only watched his MMA fights and didn't know that he had a kickboxing background, you would think that his background is more of a grappling background based on how he fights. I think Akimoto will force this fight on the feet, and I think Akimoto knocks him the fuck out.
Yeah, I am so excited about this fight. I absolutely love Akimoto. He's just, like you said, just a sensational young gun hot prospect here. And, I call him the Prince of RIZIN. I was so impressed with his, this debut where he won by superior rule set. Just absolutely, it was absolutely sensational. And I'm so high on this kid. I cannot wait to see him fight again. This is one of the fights to watch right here. And, it's just, he's one of the guys that I want them to keep. Just pull out all the stops, pull all expenses, whatever it costs. just keep this kid in the Epic Rising. I feel like he's got a great future. He's going to be he's a rising superstar for them. Okay, just don't let the UFC poach this kid. Just do whatever it takes to keep him. And I'm just like I said, I just cannot wait to see this guy perform in game. I was like his previous performance where he got the ground and knee finish was absolutely sensational. I just absolutely loved it. That's when I dubbed him the Prince of RIZIN. Right? This kid is going to live up to it. Is going to show exactly why we call him the Prince of RIZIN. I think he's going to get another sensational finish on this one. Hopefully by a superior rule set again. But it's just, I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait.
Yeah, this is going to be a high-paced fight. This is going to be a high-paced fight. Now, this is Akimoto's first time at featherweight, and I imagine it's because it's a 1 month freaking turnaround from his last fight. That's like, okay, I don't want to cut to 135 again. So they're fighting at 145.
He looked huge. He looked huge at 135,
yeah,
right?
Dude, I know. He looked, I'm glad he looked way bigger than he looked in deep.
Yeah. Yeah, wait. I mean, just you can tell he's grown. You can tell he's a growing boy. He's eating his corn, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting his ramen bowls in Rikatsu for sure. The odds are a little bit high here, but I think that's just due to just how dangerous Akimoto has looked as of late. He is the favorite at -350, Suzuki plus 240. I think this is fine. I really do. Again, Suzuki, it's like how it basically comes down to how much weight, how much you're going to gamble that Suzuki really just tries to stand and bang with him versus Suzuki doing what he's done recently in mixed martial arts, despite being a kickboxing crossover, which is take this fight to the ground, try to employ some ground and pound and get the finish there. Man, there's a 20-year age gap between them. I'm going with Akimoto, man. I know Suzuki's look great, but Akimoto's he's gonna win this, and he's gonna get the finish.
Agreed. Akimoto he's like we said, a rising superstar. He's going to be somebody you're going to hear of in the future. Like he's going to be on the Asakura brothers level and like Ren Hiramoto superstar level of Japanese fighter in the future. That's why I'm saying no matter what it takes, just keep this kid in the Epic Rising as long as possible because he's got superstar potential for them. He's just an amazing fighter.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the next one. We got the big boys. Well, we got one big boy, and we got another guy who's fighting at I believe the first time ever as heavyweight in MMA. We got Sidario up against the return of the mighty Hizaki Kato, which, by the way, shout out to our friends at Rush Hour Fight Club and Combat Sports Today. They had a great interview. They had a great interview with him earlier this week.
Yes, and also, not just the Rush Hour Fight Club and Combat Sports Today people, also the We Are Rising podcast. Drew had a great interview with them.
Yep.
And Jay Krish of Focus Fights had a fantastic interview with Kato as well. So all those interviews were fantastic. Just loved watching them all. And just great friends, and shout out to the Combat Sports Today fam. And the Rush Hour fight, and with you it's the Rush City Out podcast, right? Yeah. So big shout out to Jay from Rush Hour Fight Club, and for scoring that interview, and just did a really good job on that one. I really enjoyed those. All the interviews I enjoyed, but yeah, those I just want to make sure to give them a shout out right now.
Absolutely, we appreciate it. And yeah, back-to-back big age gaps between the fighters here as the Japanese Musketeer, man, makes his return back to mixed martial arts. Now, he has been actually performing pretty damn well as a 42-year-old and in his 40s and even late 30s, fighting kickboxing for K1. Sidario's coming off an upset loss to Ueda. I know the odds were closer in that one than in some of his other fights, but a win over Ueda could have even stamped an invite to like Dana White's Contender Series, as the UFC is constantly looking for talented heavyweights, and Sidario was just that on a 2-fight win streak going into that fight against Ueda, and Ueda landed a nice knee on him, throwing that kick, and Sidario went down in the TKO loss. Now, he is a hefty boy, sumo background, of course. 260 he's coming into this fight in, right? He's weighing in at 260, whereas Kato, I don't think has never fought as a heavyweight in pro mixed martial arts. Both of them are 8-3 as a pro in mixed martial arts, but obviously we know the Japanese Musketeer has fought a lot in kickboxing as well. He lost his last fight in MMA 7 years ago to Chidi Njokwani in Bellator. Chidi obviously now ripping it up in the UFC. 7 KO TKOs, 1 decision in pro mixed martial arts, 3-2 in Bellator, 1-0 in RIZIN. He last fought in RIZIN in 2016. He lost his last 2 kickboxing fights via finish, but he fought back in 2022 at the K1 World Grand Prix Japan. He had an active 2021 and 2022 where he did get a win at K Festa 5, but he hasn't been himself. He hasn't been dominating in the sport, both kickboxing and mixed martial arts, since around 2016, 2020. He has amazing wins on his resume, though. I mean, a kickboxing win via spinning back fist knockout, no less, against Joe Schilling back in 2016 was awesome. Shout out to the old Bellator kickboxing. I mean, he beat Watanabe in RIZIN back in 2016. Man, yeah, he's fought a who's who in kickboxing and in mixed martial arts as well. Wanted one more kick of the can here, and of course, RIZIN serves them with one of their top heavyweights. Not only one of RIZIN's top heavyweights, because RIZIN doesn't have a deep heavyweight division. They don't even have a belt for the division, but one of the top Japanese heavyweights. And that's saying something, because there's some big boys on the regional scene in Japan who actually can throw hands. So I'm rooting for the legend here. I'm rooting for Kato, but I have Sudario winning this one. Likely TKO.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I got Sudario winning this one, bouncing back and from a loss. So, and Kato, he's over 40. He's not a natural heavyweight. I'm guessing that's why it's at heavyweight, is because he's over 40, doesn't have to cut weight or anything like that.
Hasn't fought in 2 years.
Yeah. Primarily kickboxer. So it's like, this is really a Sudario bounce back fight. But it's gonna be interesting to see how Kato looks at the weigh-ins. Is there a size differential? How big is the size differential? How does Kato look?
He looks like he's in good shape. Like, looks like he's been like lifting weights or staying like active. It's not like he's coming off the couch. Good.
Maybe also, what if he's on some like the gear a little bit, right? That could be another factor. So, we'll see. I mean, I really like Kato. I love the Japanese Musketeer nickname. I think he should come out do a nice walkout, elaborate walkout, like in full on Musketeer gear. Maybe have like a mustache and a goatee style or something like that. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but I'm really excited to see him back in the RIZIN ring. But I think I agree with you. I think Sudario is just gonna. I mean, I'm sorry, the RIZIN cage. I don't know why I said the RIZIN ring, but Sudario, I think, is just gonna beat him up, unfortunately, and get back in that win column. That's what he's looking to do. So I think that's what's gonna happen. But I'm rooting for Kato, but I'm picking Sudario. But my heart is rooting for Kato, the legend. Like I said, I mean, who doesn't love watching those KOs of Joe Schilling where he does a spinning back fist on him? But just absolutely sensational, all timer great KOs, right? So you got a lot of love for Hisaki Kato, but at the same time, with my head, you got to be smart. If we're betting here, we got to bet on Sudario, the big, natural heavyweight sumo crossover, looking to bounce back. Really, like we were saying, he's one of the best heavyweights in Japan right now. So, he's looking to get back in the win column. I think that's what's going to happen, and that's why I'm picking Sudario for the win. But my heart is definitely rooting for Kato, the Japanese Musketeer, and for him to have a great walkout as well, in case this could possibly be one of his last bouts, right? Possibly one of his last mixed martial arts bouts. So, like I said, I just want him to really go out, and do it big. No, for sure. He's still a solid striker. Sudario's not going to grapple, so we kind of know how this one's going to go. Kato has been active in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitions in the last 2 years, so that's one thing as well. So, A, to suggest that he might be on a little gear, and B, again, just to suggest, allegedly. We're just throwing it out there. We don't know.
And we give you props. We are KSW supporters, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
As soon as Paulo Costa's secret juice hits the shelves, we will be helping to push that.
Exactly. The UFC, they dumped USADA who cares about the gear anymore? Everybody's on the freaking gear now, including UFC fighters. They don't have USADA to worry about no more. So who cares about it? You know, especially if there's over 40, should let them juice, right? Yeah. So just throw that out there. Hopefully, you know, we'll see how it goes. But
Sidario, by the way, I do have to point out. He is not working with Ensign anymore. He's disavowed him, and he's now he's working with Japanese top teams, which I don't know if is a good thing or bad thing. Like it kind of goes one way or there's no like mid-level Japanese top teams. They either are horrendous or they're really good. So we'll see how it works for Sidario here.
And the reason that he's not with Ensign anymore is because Ensign got in legal trouble, like we were talking about earlier, with pot and mushrooms and stuff like that, trying to get him mailed into the country, and he had to go to jail for a while with and even his wife got put in jail. This just crazy. So Sidario, you know, he's got a controversy of how he got left sumo, right? So he wants to stay away from
he was hitting the hippie lettuce a little too much there in the sumo days.
So that's why he's trying to distance himself from Ensign, because he doesn't want any kind of controversy around him anymore. So, but hey, the Japanese top team, that's a great, like you're saying, it's like hit or like, isn't that where Kai is from? Isn't Kai Japanese top team too, or no?
Well, that's he owns him and Mikuru own it.
Okay, yeah. So there, that's what the Azakura Bros are from, and you know, Kai is now in the UFC going straight to a title fight. I mean, that you called, Aisha, before anybody else. So I mean, that's just. You know, that gym, it's got some great fighters in that gym, 100%.
Yeah, Sidario minus 650 plus 400 on Kato.
Wow, okay. So it's very lopsided odds. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't bet that unless it's like a parlay or something. So.
All right, next fight here. This is my main event. This is the people's main event. The return of a rising star in RIZIN now as well. Catfish himself, Ryusei Ashizawa, who in my opinion had fight of the year out of all promotions, Super RIZIN 3, him in his rematch against Koji in mixed martial arts. That was one of the greatest fights that I have ever seen, especially in this era. And it should be MMA, not only MMA, boxing, kickboxing, I don't care. It should be fight of the year. That was an absolute 3-round war, dude. It was unbelievable. Now, that war was only 3 months ago, and he took a lot of damage in that one, and apparently broke his arm as well, and he's coming back in three freaking months. So I am a little concerned. But then I, watch his fights. And I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's tough as nails, and he doesn't care, nor do I think he even feels pain. So Ashizawa, so excited to see his return. Now it is back in mixed martial arts. He's only 1-1 in mixed martial arts, but he is a kickboxing crossover fighter who is starting to learn how to get back up to his feet a little bit better. Mind you, he only really showed that against Koji, so take that with a grain of salt. He's going up against the legend Soji Samurai Maruyama, ladies and gentlemen. Maruyama is coming back likely in one of his last fights here, because he is definitely over the hill as far as his prime, ladies and gentlemen. 19-17-1, lost 4 out of his last 5 fights on a 3-fight losing streak. Got subbed in his last fight. Got knocked out against Hiroki Suzuki. Got knocked out against Hagiwara. Basically, Maruyama, the samurai, he wants to keep this on the feet. He loves brawling styles. He's 14 KO TKOs and 0 submissions in his very, very illustrious and long MMA career. And that bodes well for Ashizawa, who would rather this not go to the ground and just want to stand and bang. So is there a puncher's chance for Shoji? Absolutely. That's his bread and butter. However, I think Ashizawa pieces him up. He's the faster striker. He's the better striker. He's way younger. He's got some pop in those shots. I guess the puncher's chance and the fact that Ashizawa took so much damage in his last fight only 3 months ago could be betting factors and why you'd want to lean towards the veteran. However, oh, damn, and that is 100% reflected in the odds here. Ashizawa's only minus 120 favorite to Maruyama minus 110. This one is an absolute pick'em. I guess people are going on to the assumption that Maruyama could employ some grappling if he wants to, since Ashizawa literally like just doesn't have any. I just don't think that's the case. I think they're just going to stand in the middle and throw. But this one, I honestly thought Ashizawa would come in at least minus 150, minus 180. But this one's basically a pick'em against the kickboxing crossover, you know, Diaz type fighter, just straight up thug style. I absolutely love it. Brawling style against a guy who wants to stand and bang and knock people out in the legend that is Shoji. Who do you have in this one?
Oh, I'm going with Catfish Asawa as well.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, it just like you're saying. I love how you put over a fight of Super RIZIN 3 as it is 100% fight of the year candidate, if not the actual fight. Like I'm so happy that you endorsed it as the fight of the year.
Oh, it's fight of the year, 100%.
Oh yeah, it was sensational, absolutely sensational. And to me, this fight seems like a reward for that, right? They're giving Catfish Tashizawa finally a non-grappling fighter, right? A non-grappling first type of fighter, right? So he's going up against a guy that's likes to strike as well. So I think it's going to bode well for Ashizawa and his obviously striking styles as a kickboxing crossover, and he won't have to deal with a super experienced grappler. So I think I can't believe the odds are that close. Wow. I mean, if you're ever going to bet on the favorite, this is the one. I think this is the one where you bet on the favorite.
Shoji sub too while you're at it, getting his first sub.
Is that the odds really high for that one too?
I don't know, but I'm sure if you can find, if you can bet on that somewhere, I'm sure that's like decent plus money. But this is how old Shoji is. He fought Jose Aldo and Pancrase in 2007.
Wow, that is. Man, that's over a decade ago. That's coming up on 2 decades ago. That's incredible. So I mean, he's definitely a veteran. But like I said, to me, I think this is a reward for Catfish Ashizawa putting on a fight of the year at Super RIZIN 3 with Cozy. So, I think this is his fight to lose. And like I was saying, Shoji Samurai Shoji, he is not a grappling heavy fighter. So that is going to bode well for Catfish Ashizawa. And, since Catfish Ashizawa is at minus, you said 115?
120. He's a slight favorite.
Okay, so that, to me, that is worth it to put some money on for that one. I'm definitely picking him. And I think that would be a wise one to bet on because I just believe his opponent is old, over 40, right? Over 40-year-old opponent, and not a grappling heavy opponent.
And losing on the feet, losing on the ground in his last 3 fights, right? And only 1 win in his last 5.
So he doesn't have momentum. He doesn't have a grappling advantage. He doesn't have an age advantage. So to me, this is Catfish Ashizawa's fight to lose right here. He's got to make a colossal mistake to lose this fight. Otherwise, I think he's gonna get the knockout, in my opinion. So that's what I'm gonna say.
Agreed. All right, co-main event of the evening. And my lock of the card, ladies and gentlemen. My lock of the card as far as if you want to make some money on this one. I was blown away when I saw the odds on this one. I was absolutely blown away. Now I might get some hate if this like a decision loss for my lock, but I think this is the best odds on the card for an underdog coming in here. We got the return of Hamasaki, that is right, Ayaka Hamasaki coming back into mixed martial arts after a 2-year layoff at 42 years of age against the returning Yuri Shim, who lost her last fight in a razor close decision against Reina Kubota. Dude, Yuri Shim, who's 30 years of age, and again, coming off, a little bit of a layoff, going up against Reina, one of the best Japanese, if not the best Japanese female fighter out there right now. Took her to a very close decision, a decision that, I rewatched it, and okay, I understand why Reina won, but in the moment watching it, I thought Ryu Shim won that fight. Like, it was that close. She actually, she left Reina with some visible damage, right? Which is hard to do. She comes in as the massive underdog, plus 300 for Yuri Shim. That is easy money. Easy money. Take it to the bank, bro. I cannot believe how I cannot believe how disrespected she's being, especially because she's a taller, lankier fighter. And in Hamasaki's last loss 2 years ago, she went up against another Korean in Siwoo Park, who was a little bit taller than her and a little bit lankier than her, and fought a similar style. And honestly, Siwoo Park is not that much of a grappler, and Hamasaki had issues grappling with her. Well, Yuri Shim is more of a striker as well, and Reina had issues grappling Yuri Shin. There was a point where Yuri Shim actually took Reina to the ground and landed some elbow ground and pound. So I have Yuri Shim winning this one. I don't even think there's a discussion, personally. Like, I know Hamasaki's a legend. 24-6 as a pro. 2 years off, and she's 42. She fought a fighter who, in my opinion, Siwoo Park is fine, but I like Yuri Shim better. Similar records, similar opponents, similar trajectories as far as their career went. I get it, but still, Yuri Shim did take some time off of fighting. She's 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She's 30 years of age. And 2 KO TKOs, 1 submissions, 3 decisions. Doesn't get finished often. There's only 1 KO TKO loss. 5-2 in Road FC. Won the belt in Road FC before her layoff. Comes back and puts on a performance like that against Reina. Unbelievable stuff there. And it's not like she just fought cans on the regional scene. 6-3 gal in Road FC. Beat a 7-6-1 gal to win the title. Fought 3-0 gal when she was just 2-2, and went 1-2 on the amateur scene. Again, Hamasaki, absolute legend. Fought a who's who, but I think this is just... And she's never been submitted with 10 submissions. I love that. 10-4 in RIZIN, 4-2 in Invicta. Right, she made her mark in North America as well. But I don't know, man. Lost her title to Izawa. Beat a solid fighter in Jessica Aguilar, but then that loss to Siwoo Park was kind of like, ooh, okay, that might be the beginning of the end. And then with the 2-year layoff, didn't get that fight against Claire Lopez. I think Ryu Shim absolutely pieces her up on the feet and can scramble enough to get back to the feet, and maybe even Yuri Shim doing some good clinch work as well. I hope, if this goes to decision, that the Japanese judges do not rob Yuri Shim, because, again, it was close last time. I get it. I'm not gonna argue on that one anymore. But if this one is clear for Yuri Shim, I'm still scared that they rob her because they want to give it to Hamasaki. I really do. I'm actually scared. So I hope Yuri Shim gets the finish. But at plus 300, I feel like that's easy money, dude.
Oh, I 100% agree. I love Yuri Shim too, and that's the livest underdog I've heard in a long time. Plus, I mean, she shouldn't be any more over plus 100 or plus 2. I mean, Hamasaki, isn't she over 40?
She's 42, and she's coming off a 2-year layoff after losing to a girl who fights similar to Yuri Shim and wasn't able to be dominated by the takedowns.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right, Aisha. This is the livest underdog bet of the night. I don't want to go so far to say a lock of the night. I mean, Hamasaki is a former champion of multiple promotions, including Invicta fighting championships. So that's. I mean, she it's not like she's a can. You know what I mean?
No, she's not. But she hasn't gotten a finish. She hasn't gotten a finish since 2020 in how many fights? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights.
Wow. So she's clearly on the downside of her career, right? So, and Yuri Shim is clearly on the upside of her career, even coming off that close split decision loss to Reina Kubota. Which
if anything,
I believe
that gave her more momentum.
You think? Yeah, but you know what? The Japanese fans, they really liked her too. They really liked her because that was a great fight. That was one of the best women's fights of the year, to be honest with you. And it was. It was great. And the way that Reina beat her was, she had the near crucifix finish. That's why, because remember, RIZIN fights are judged as a whole, not round by round. So even though Yuri Shim might have won the rounds, she did not win the fight as a whole because Reina was closer to the finish than what Yuri got. That's why it put her over the top for the decision to over Yuri Shim. But Yuri Shim, I mean, like I was saying, the Japanese fans, they loved her. They thought she was a great fight. That's why she's back already. That's why she's back in such a high profile fight with a former champion. And this is I agree with you 100%, Aisha. The odds are crazy for this. I cannot believe she's a plus 300 underdog on this. I don't want to
You
call it a
almost
lock.
beat Reina, and then they make you a plus 300 against, yes, a former champ who's been out for 2 years and who lost her last fight to
And it's over 40, like well over 40. I mean, that's
42,
like,
yeah.
dude, that's man. That I almost want to bet on it myself now. I mean, just throw like a $20 or $100 on Yuri Shim, and you get the up. Dude, you win $300 right there.
Bro, all your
that's
Christmas
incredible.
presents paid for.
I know, right? Exactly. So I just can't believe the odds are like that. That's incredible to hear. I'm definitely going with Yuri Shim as well. Well, I'm with you, Aisha, on this one, 100%. It's going to be a banger. Is this the co-main or is this the third from the fight?
This is the co-main. We got one more.
It is the co-main.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's even. I mean, wow. Okay. That's because Hamasaki is a former champion. So that's why I thought that the other one was going to be co-main, but that's man. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I'm really excited for this one. This is going to be, it's going to be a banger, and hopefully Yuri Shim, like you said, hopefully Yuri Shim gets it done with a finish. But Hamasaki, former champion, real tough. But I mean, I don't think Hamasaki's got what it takes to get her down. I think you're absolutely right. I think Yuri Shim, she's a tall, very tall, lanky fighter for that weight division.
Good clinch
and
work.
Yeah, I mean, she's got clinch work, she's got counter grappling, takedown defense, all that good stuff that we saw in the Reina fight. So that's why it's so shocking that she's a plus 300 underdog. That's incredible. So I just, man, I think I agree with you, Aisha. That's a near to a lock for an underdog bout as we can get. That's gonna be a great. That's just gonna add any more intrigue to this fight for me. I cannot wait.
All right. Main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, we got the return of Vugar Karamov. Was on an absolute run as a champion 2 in RIZIN, and he loses one of the biggest upsets in pro mixed martial arts. Like, it's going to go down in the history books for A, how big of an upset it was, and B, for how it transpired, losing his title in Azerbaijan in front of his home crowd to Chihiro Suzuki while in the top position. I've only ever seen that in KSW, where a heavyweight landed an elbow from the bottom and knocked out his opponent on top of him, who just like near crushed him, falling on top of him there. Whereas I believe it was a knee.
Chihiro Suzuki got him with a grounded up kick.
Okay.
That's
Was it
a
the knee
crucial part of the superior. No. It was a grounded up kick. Vugar Karamov's knee was still down when Chihiro started the up kick motion, and Vugar Karamov basically stood up and got hit flush in the chin with the up kick, and just, it was so sensational. I just absolutely loved it. Like you said, Aisha, one of the biggest upsets of the year, one of the best KOs of the year. Sensational to see. And once he got knocked out with the up kick, it was like a flash knockout where he fell into his guard, and then Chihiro was just going crazy, punching him with knee. Yeah, and got the finish. It was sensational. That's how Chihiro Suzuki became the featherweight champion. So Vugar Karamov is looking to get his belt back, and I'm telling you, he is itching to get back in the competition because he's had to sit out this entire year because of legal problems, but for the hooliganism that was happening in Azerbaijan. So this is really his fight to come back and be like, man, dude, I can't wait to be back. Can't wait to show the Japanese fans what they've been missing. And I just think it's going to be a sensational performance. But yeah, just want to put that in there, and make sure we say about how Chihiro Suzuki got that up kick. It was a grounded up kick finish. That's a crucial part of the superior rule set that doesn't get enough credit, I think, is that they also allow grounded up kicks. Yeah, and I can't wait to see like an Anderson Silva versus what was that Japanese guy that Rumble in the Rock with the grounded up kick? With Yushin Okami. Yep. Anderson Silva got a grounded up kick KO of Yushin Okami, was disqualified because it wasn't allowed, right? But that is 100% legal in the Epic Rise and Superior rule set. That's going to be a factor in some of these fights, hopefully. I mean, we've seen it that's how Hamasaki, that's how she lost to Asika Izawa. Maybe that's why they're the odds makers are rating her so high, is because she was doing well against Asika Izawa, the current champion, and lost because Asika Izawa hit her with an up kick, with a grounded up kick, and then stood up and then finished her off with some strikes and stuff. But it was the up kick that did it for that one. So It's just I just want to point that out there and say that what a fantastic strike that is. What makes it part of the superior rule set? What makes it the superior rule set is ground up kicks is a major portion of that. So just want to put that out there. So please continue with your sensational intro for this main event.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Karamov was on a 3-fight win streak going into that Suzuki fight, defending the title as he won it against Mikuru Asakura. His only other loss before that, in like recent years anyways, was a split decision loss to Saito. Before that one, he was on an absolute run. He had not lost between 2015 and 2020. He's 5-2 in RIZIN, 1-0 in Bellator, 6 KO TKOs, 9 submissions, 3 decisions. Actually has some boxing. Like his striking isn't horrible, but he usually will gauge his opponents on the feet to try to set up the takedown. He's never been submitted and has kind of that smothering style. Majima overall, I think, has the better like jiu-jitsu / offensive grappling as far as looking for the submissions, where again Karamov is more I'm just going to smash you brother sort of style, where he'll go for the ground and pound and dominant position, whereas Majima really has some nasty submissions and has some really good scrambles. But the thing about Majima is like it's like he doesn't go the full 100. It's like there's moments in the fights where he'll be winning the fight and then make a silly mistake and then just lose, get in a bad position, get submitted, get in a bad position, get knocked out, and just can't recover and end up losing the fight as a decision as well. He's 17-5 as a pro, 33 years of age. I like how these guys are very similar, like 17-5 for Majima, 19-5 for Karamov. Each of them, 32 for Karamov, 33 for Majima. Majima is 3-1 in his last 5 fights. Beat Suguru Nii in his last fight, which was a huge win. I was all on the Suguru Nii train. I thought Nii's grappling was good enough to at least negate that as Majima, and I thought Nii was going to knock him out. Nope, Majima made it look easy. Rear naked choke in the first round. Lost to Imanari, which I'm so happy for Imanari, but it's like, what the fuck, Majima? Like, come on, bro. You're on a 2-fight win streak on your way to a title fight. And you're like, oh man, Imanari freaking ankle pick you. Of course you do. No, they actually got him in an armbar there, which was even crazier. But anyways, before that was on a 2-fight win streak, beating the prospect Yokoyama, which was a good win, and taking on Takahiro Ashida, which was a good win. He actually got him in the Von Flue choke. So like when Majima shows up and puts together 100% effort, he has the grappling skills to win most mixed martial arts fights. He's tough enough where he doesn't get knocked out often. He's only been finished 4 times in his pro MMA career, twice via KO TKO, twice via submission, 14 submission victories, only 2 decisions, only 1 KO TKO. He's 3-4 in RIZIN, 7-0 in Shuto Brazil. Oh man, this one was hard for me to pick. So as far as the odds go, Majima's plus 240, Karamov is minus 350. I don't mind those odds as well. Could they be a little bit closer? Sure, but I think those are fine. Last fight on the card, my last swing. I'm going with Majima here. I'm going with Majima as the underdog. And he's a dangerous grappler. If Karamov zigs when he should zag in the top position, I mean, shoot, it got him knocked out against freaking Chihiro. Maybe Majima can grab an arm or a triangle choke on his back. Now, do I think Majima gets taken down first? Yes. But if you looked at how dominant Majima was in his last fight against Nii. Now, I'm not saying Nii's at the same level as Karamov, but like Nii's no slouch. Record aside, Nii's no slouch. Karamov has losses on his record too, okay? No slouch. Majima made it look easy. If Majima is dialed, he will understand his assignment in this one. Karamov, I mean, it's a tough fighter to go up against, but it's an easy fighter to prepare for, if that makes sense. Because like it's not like this guy has like crazy strikes coming out of nowhere. You know what he's going to do. We just outlined it. He's going to throw some strikes and he can hang on the feet to set up the takedowns. He's going to go for the takedown. He's going to smash you in guard, half guard, side control. Either find the submission if it's there or just beat you up. Whereas Majima's more methodical on the ground and has more avenues, more tools, more paths to get out of stuff and or finish you in the fight. Oh, man, but it's tough because it's the jiu-jitsu versus the wrestling smother style, but I'm going with the jiu-jitsu style. Do I think Karamov's the better boxer? Yes. Majima, though, is hard to finish. Should be a scrambly fight. Obviously, Karamov stronger and actually has some decent submissions in his tool belt. Karamov's never been submitted, so maybe this is the first time, because this is the hardest grappler he's ever faced in Majima, and Majima is dangerous on the ground. I already talked about how Majima tends to be his own worst enemy. If he starts out strong, sometimes he can fade, or if he faces adversity, whether he gets like a flash knockdown, gets hit with some big shots, or opponent is getting the control time, sometimes he'll just fade. But yeah, I'm going with the underdog on this one. I do not think Karamov has faced anyone as good on the ground as Majima, and who has the offensive wherewithal on the ground as Majima in Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm ending this one off with a banger and a swing.
I love it. What are the actual odds for this one? You didn't say what the odds are. I missed what the odds were for this one.
Minus 350 for Vugar, plus 240 for Majima.
Wow. Okay, that is a live underdog as well. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, look, Segura, his win over Segura Knee was on a trajectory to a pathway towards a title, right? So that was a huge win for Majima, sort of knocked Knee off of the trajectory to get to the title. And now I believe this fight right here, this main event, this could be an unofficial number one contenders fight right here. I believe that, especially if Majima pulls off the upset win, like you're saying, Aisha, I believe he could be next in line.
Give him the winner of Chihiro and Kleber.
Well, see, look, with that, we don't know what's going on. We got to find out what's going on. We got to get some clarity with what's going on with PFL Tour.
True, but like let's just leave Don Davis out of the conversation and just say, like, if that happens, which it probably will, before PFL Tour gets their house in order. What I wanted to get at is either of those options for Majima are fucking sick. Because you go up against Kleber, sick. You got another unbelievable scrambly grappling match, and you can really test yourself against the king of the submissions in RIZIN. Or if you go against Suzuki, well, that's how good is... Suzuki, maybe he just beat Kleber. Okay, you just beat the best submission guy. Now you're up against me. Let's see if I can submit you now, right? So there's so many great storylines for Majima, assuming he wins this one with either of the potential opponents, depending on the winner of Kleber and Chihiro.
Yeah, agreed 100%. But I am actually going to go with Kuramov. I think that Vugar has just been itching to get back in that ring, or get back in the RIZIN cage. And just he wants to put on performance here and show the Japanese fans he's back, and that they've been, he's just been missing the competition. You can tell on the confession series and all that stuff. He wants to get back in there, and he's gonna get back in there, show out, and I mean the odds are they have him as a pretty big favorite. So because he's a good fighter, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I know. I'm swinging on this one. I by no means am I like saying that, oh yeah, Majima's a great underdog. He's a fine underdog because like they're both solid guys. I'm picking him on the caveat that Karamov has never faced anyone who has as good a grappling as Majima.
Okay, I like that. I like that you're picking, but I'm going to pick Vugar Karamov. I just think he's going to come in there with a chip on his shoulder that he wants to get back in the competition, put all this legal hooliganism stuff behind him in Azerbaijan, get back in the competition, put on a sensational performance, and get his name right back in the title mix. And that's what will happen if he does a sensational performance here against Majima, gets a W. He's going to be right back in the title mix, and we'll see what happens after that. But it's a good banger to cap off this card full of bangers here, and just I'm really happy that you're picking Majima as a live underdog. I believe he is a live underdog. Like you said, the best grappler that Vugar Karamov has faced so far. But Vugar Karamov is no slouch in grappling as well. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing in grappling department, right? So it's going to be a banger. And, I'm just really interested to see how this one plays out. And is there going to be some superior rule set in there? What if Vugar Karamov is like, you know what? Man, he's going to be pissed off from losing by a ground up kick. Maybe he does his own ground up kick this time, or does some grounded kicks or grounded knees, right? So I can't wait to see how it's going to play out. It's an awesome main event. And I'm so happy that all the other Azerbaijani bros are on this card as well. I mean, of course, there's a couple big ones that are missing, like, of course, Tofik Musayev, who is, probably one of the prime candidates to be on the New Year's Eve collaboration portion of New Year's, if that's going to still happen. So maybe that's why Tofik is not on this card as well. But we'll see, how that plays out in the future. But for this main event, It's awesome. I can't wait to see Buga Karamal back in competition. And he gets quality competition in Majima, the best grappler he's ever faced. It's just a great cap off to a sensational card here of 12 superior rule set bouts that are all bangers practically. I mean, there's looking at the card. Is there any fight that's not a banger on here? I mean, besides the prelims? I mean...
No, but hey, stop ripping on the prelims. The prelims are going to be bangers
you
as
know
well.
what? The prelims, they don't have a superior rule set factor to them.
Fights on the card. 16 fights on the card, including the prelims. We got one Japanese kickboxing event, and it's the last big event of the day for us here in North America, which starts with KSW 100, UFC 309, and then RIZIN Landmark 10. We are spoiled, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our picks. That is the preview. Those are our predictions. Before I let you go, J Wolf, where can the fans find you?
Okay, you can find me on several different platforms, one of them being Discord, in the RIZIN FF fans Discord channel. It's a lot of fun there. That's where I spend most of my time because it's non-public. You don't have to, like Twitter, you're not going to get fired over a post that you post in the Discord like you would on Twitter, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun. We watch the fights live there. We talk about more than just RIZIN there too. I recommend everybody join in there. It's just a lot of fun in the RIZIN Discord. We allow trolling and talking trash and it's just fun. So check me out. I'm at JWolf1 in the RIZIN FF fans Discord channel. Also on Twitter. I love Twitter as well, or X I should say. I love X as well, and I'm on there, but my name is misspelled on there. It's JAYY. OLF1. It's misspelled on purpose because, back in the day, that's there's a million other J Wolves when I first started commenting. So I just said, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna misspell it. Easy to search. Just put JAYY. It'll bring up my name right away. So I do plan on switching eventually to make it the correct spelling of J Wolf1, but I just been so busy lately I haven't done it. So, anyways, if you follow me on Twitter and you're a real person, a fight fan, I'll follow you right back immediately like that. And then also, on another platform is Focus Fights with a good friend of the show, Jay Christian Gary, and we just did a preview with also had a friend from Ireland across the pond, Suplex X10, Suplex times 10. Great guy. It was really fun doing that Focus Fights preview with them. A lot of fun. Check that out. And then of course, right here on the City Life Project, arguably one of the most fun, if not the most fun podcasts for talking about the Epic RIZIN, because we're here with the odds and everything for you, and it just, man, it doesn't get any better than this. Both of us absolutely love the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation Superior Rule Set. It's probably our favorites, and just, you can't get this kind of stuff anywhere else. None of the mainstream media, they don't do this stuff. They barely give us even a weigh-ins. So can't thank you enough, Aisha. This is incredible. Thank you for having me on, and I can't wait to do the New Year's Eve show with you. It's going to be fantastic. So everybody, just like and subscribe to the City Life Project right now. Smash that like button, just like Aisha's telling you, or smash that subscribe button, like Aisha tells you. This is just one of the best podcasts around. Just can't thank Aisha enough, and just thank you all for listening too. I can't wait to watch this show. It's going to be a banger, and just thank you. This is incredible. So thank you again, Aisha.
Appreciate it, man. Like I said, I always love RIZIN Fight Week because I get to link up with the mighty J Wolf and we get to talk about and preview the great card ahead. And yeah, it's going to be a great New Year's Eve show. All right, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. As always, like and subscribe. And last word goes to you, my friend.
Pride never die. Pride is RIZIN. Of course, we're talking about the almighty Pride FC. Never die. Pride is RIZIN. And we out. Peace.